The room froze before I even raised my eyes. A chair squeaked. A fork hit porcelain, and then my grandfather's voice sliced through everything. "You've been getting disability payments for years." Heat swarmed my face. I managed one breath. "What do you mean?" That's when I noticed the man behind him with a closed folder. I grew up where quiet traveled faster than truth. Denise and Paul liked things orderly. I learned to shrink so nothing on their shelves rattled. My younger sister Sloane never shrank. She filled doorways like a spotlight. If she wanted something, it materialized. If she stumbled, hands appeared before she hit the floor. Dad would say, "She needs a little more support." Support was the coupon that never reached my pocket. I felt the imbalance early. At 12, I held a field trip form, $35, and Mom didn't glance away from the bills. Not this month. Minutes later, Sloane waved a flyer for dance lessons. "Of course, sweetheart." Same week, different math. By high school, her cracked laptop replaced overnight. Mine died, and I was told to use the library. Tutors for her, pep talks for me, then the injury. A slip on wet tile during a part-time shift left my back temperamental, the kind that turns every lift into a negotiation. Pills rationed, receipts saved. When I once showed the first prescription, Mom sighed, "Mara, be tougher, don't depend on anyone." Back at tonight's table, nothing felt warm despite the lighting. Grandpa, Victor, watched me, jaw set. The stranger stood like punctuation. I could shout or I could move. I stood. I left the table in silence and chose the second thing, action. The hallway outside the dining room was narrow and dim. A framed photo of Denise, Paul, and Sloane glowed beneath a tiny lamp. I wasn't in it. Cool air steadied me. I took my canvas bag and slipped into the bathroom. In the mirror, the light softened my face into fog. I pressed 2 fingers to the bridge of my nose and sat on the closed lid. Out came the small notebook where I track every clinic fee, copay, bus fare, and refill. Receipts fanned like brittle leaves. I used to think that ledger made me responsible. Tonight it looked like evidence. I opened my banking app. No odd deposits, only wages in and rent out, honest and small, clarity settled, cool, exact. I typed an email to the benefits office requesting a full history of all payments issued in my name, with every address on file and the dates of each deposit. No explanation, no apologies, just the facts I should have owned from the start. I returned to the doorway. Victor watched. The stranger held his folder like a period at the end of a long sentence. Denise laughed too loudly at nothing. Sloane scrolled. I didn't perform the scene they expected. I lifted my coat. No one stopped me. Good. I chose facts over theater. Outside, the air scraped clean. Gravel whispered under my boots to the streetlight at the curb. By the time I reached my apartment in Seattle, the hallway bulb flickered like always. I spread everything on the floor, bills, notes, prescriptions, and built a map. Spreadsheet cells filled with dates and amounts, each number a small witness. I added a column for what I should have received and multiplied by 10 years. The total sat there, heavy and calm. Near midnight, an email pinged, request acknowledged. I exhaled. I won't fix what they've broken, I told the quiet, and the quiet held. I returned the next afternoon. The driveway looked like a celebration nobody wanted. Inside, everything sat as before. Denise and Paul at center, Sloane by them, Victor at the far end. The stranger stepped forward at Victor's nod and introduced himself. Aaron Harris, auditor. He opened the folder. Paper on paper, crisp as a verdict. 10 years of deposits, he said. Issued in Mara Levin's name, redirected to this address. He set down pages by year. My name, their street, my mother's signature. Sloane stopped scrolling. Paul crossed his arms. Denise watched the ink as if it might rearrange. We used it for the family, Paul said. For vacations? The remodel, the SUV? Harris tapped the lines. Total $280,000 and change. Victor's chair scraped. You let her go without medicine, he said. You let her work through pain to polish a kitchen. Denise's smile collapsed. She's independent. She never asked. I asked every time I said I was fine, I said. You liked that answer too much. Harris closed the folder. Accounts will be frozen pending investigation. Miss Levin will be contacted about restitution. He placed an envelope in my hand. My name belonged to it, undeniable. No shouting followed, just a story losing its narrator. I put on my coat. Victor drove me home. He didn't apologize. At the curb, he said, "Not another $1." I nodded. Inside, I set the envelope beside my spreadsheet. Boundaries aren't loud. They're the line you don't cross twice. I had mine, measured in pages, signed in ink held by me.